Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, Isaac. Nice to see you again.
Or we can push Greg Dickey's meeting back.
Welcome to the Trinity Metro Board of Directors meeting on Monday, August 17th, a little after 3. I'll call this meeting to order.
I don't think these are on.
First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ben, would you help us with the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a card for citizen comments, which is our first order of business. We have a card from Dominique Colbert. Is Ms. Colbert present? Dominique. Great name.
I was want to comment on Route 24 and 25.
Talk to the microphone, if you would. Good to see you.
You can see too. I was going to comment on 24 and 25, but let's see if I can have connect.
Go ahead, Dominique. So Dominique and I ride the trains and buses together, don't we, Dominique? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Welcome to the board meeting.
Oh, thank you.
So what would you like to share with us?
About 24 and 25 meet over each other. Like, I'm trying to catch 25 like going to the Grand Plaza. Sometimes I be missing it every time.
You're missing sometimes the 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have enough time between stops?
By the time we get there,
Yeah.
you'll be taken out.
Okay, we can certainly look into that. Would you look into that, Rich?
Yeah. So just so we all understand, it's Route 25, and you're connecting to
No, I'm fit to 25.
24 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't have enough time?
Okay, Mr. Ron Newman in the back of the room has a thumb up, so that means he's got you. We're going to look into it.
All
Why don't
right.
you step, talk to Mr. Newman back there, and he'll be happy to help you.
All right.
Thanks for coming by. Do we have any other citizen comments? Seeing that we don't have any other comments, we'll move on from citizen comment portion of the meeting to the meeting minutes of June 15th, 2026.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. We have some information items and reports. TexRail, TRE ridership, and on-time performance. Here we go. Still good news.
It's still good news. It's still good news. Welcome back. Good afternoon, board members. I'm Brad Beeson, Manager of Rail Operations, Trinity Metro. I'm here today to report the on-time performance and ridership updates for TRE and TexRail. We're here today on the heels of FIFA. Though we didn't see a huge spike in numbers on TexRail, TRE had a great 2 months with that. TexRail continues the climb towards the 1 million riders for the year. We're within reach, I will say that. In June, we had 86,946 riders, which was up 14,997 riders over last year for a 21% increase. In July, we had 86,948 riders, which was an increase of 8,841 riders for an 11% increase over last year. The on-time performance for June and July came in at 98.1%, so that's above our rate. This number would have been higher. We did have a couple of incidents in July that really kind of hindered that number. So, but we made it up. Next one. TRE had a great June and July this year with the bump from ridership for the World Cup. In June, TRE had 144,575 riders, which was up 57,237 riders for the month. Just that was a 65% increase. In July, they had 111,740 riders, which was an increase of 21,000 riders for 24% increase. The on-time performance collectively for June and July was 98%. TRE never experienced any major delays during the World Cup, even though there was a few incidents. That was a great job by their team. Safety continues to be a priority. Transportation is now at 3,140 days injury-free. Our operations team strive every day to make sure that the job is done correctly and safely. And with that, I will take any questions.
Any questions about this delightful report?
So what happened in July on TexRail?
So we had a lightning strike that killed one of the insulated joints. Well, the problem is it was in a single track section that we couldn't get any trains around. So what we ended up doing is we created a bus bridge. We shut it down for about 3.5 hours, let them go in, cut the joint out, get everything cut back over, and had signal go back in and recalibrate everything, and then we were able to get back on schedule.
Perfect. Lightning happens.
It happens. There's nothing we can do about it. There's a lot of interference in that area also, so the AC interference that affects a lot of things, and it'll make that box jump around. So they do whatever they can to try to calm it down, but there's just nothing we can really do. And when it's 105, people are going to crank that AC up, and here goes the power.
Just a comment, Brad. I know we geared up for FIFA. I think everybody in the Metroplex did a superb job, and it was noticed.
Yes, sir.
The point I'm making is we've gone a long way in the last few years to get people to trust our services and our on-time performance and everything about what we do, and that's just an extension of that trust that we built up, and I don't think it's any more or less than what we continue to do every day. So thank you, and thank everybody for making it happen during FIFA, but they also make it happen every day. So
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just curious, was
Yep.
this a record June?
I would have to find out what the record June is for TRE. That could be a record, but I can find out for you, report back to you.
thanks, Brad.
If you would get that to Christine Black, we'll get that out to the board.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Any other questions? Thanks so much.
Thank y'all.
Ron?
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Ron Newman. I am your Director of Operations. I'm glad to see that you made it through FIFA with us, with all our digits, so we are good to go. I'm going to give you some highlights of what happened in bus. If you turn to page 11, right now, currently, we are good with our goal, miles between roll calls. Anything, remember, above 9 is good, and we're well above it for fixed route, for big bus. Preventable collisions, some small issues, a little bit of fender benders, a couple of mirror strikes. We had a couple of side swipes happen this month, which took us above our average, but our total safety events is still good, well below the goal. Bus on-time performance, the crew is doing good. Operators are really killing it, to be honest with you, considering everything they got to deal with out there, the traffic and there's the customers and the FIFA and all that. So we're right there at goal. 89% is the goal, and we finished 88.6 strong. Ridership continues to climb compared to last year, which is good for big bus. If you'll turn to page 12, we'll get into the paratransit in-house. Miles between roll calls, of course, anything above 11 is good, so we're well above goal in there. Preventable collisions, it might seem a little bit higher, but it only takes 2 to push that number past the goal, and we hit the 2 mark. So we'll keep striving that to be ever better. Safety events, of course, we're good to go there. A couple of mirror strikes there. Nothing major. Pushing on down into the OTP, you'll see the OTP is still above goal, but trending down, which kind of happens this time of year just because there's more demand on the service. There's also an influx of people moving into Fort Worth. So that's driving the right side of that chart, the ridership up. As you can see, that ridership just continues to increase every month. Boom, 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 which is nice. Moving on to Para On Demand. This would be our contractor. Increase in OTP and increase in ridership. Kind of scaled back a little bit of the service there and brought the demand down to it. Once FIFA hit, we had to ramp up. So we got a couple extra contractors in the mix, and we increased our service to meet the demand. It actually did pretty good. Under the goal for OTP, but still good. Pushing into micro. Micro is always changing. It's always increasing. People like that quick trip, and they like to move around in the zone. So ridership's up, and OTP is also up. I'm going to open it up right now for any questions you'd like to have.
Mr. Chair, if I could just add to that very fine update from Mr. Newman. I think Ron and team are underselling what they've accomplished. Let me just highlight something. You typically don't see huge gains in ridership and on-time performance. Typically, when you add riders, you have more delays, people have more time to board the bus. This is very unique, and it's a result of a few things. It's fantastic teamwork and operations focusing on the business metrics, but supported by the maintenance department. So
100%.
Reed Lanham's not here today. He couldn't be here, but there's been a focused effort by Mark Snyder and team in the shop to keep these vehicles in a state of good repair, keeping them running. So there's a very close correlation between miles between roll calls and the on-time performance, and then coupled with the ridership gains, it's no surprise people are riding more. We had World Cup, yes, but when service is on time and reliable, you also attract more riders. So I think it's a virtuous cycle we're in. When things aren't working, it's the opposite. We're in a virtuous cycle now where on-time performance begets more riders, more reliable service reduces delays, and just congratulations to you. And Mark, are you in the room? Yep. Yeah, you both should take a bow. Great job.
I'll make sure my team gets the credit. I know you guys like numbers, so I'm going to hit you with a high number here. So all-time high, that's in-house and contract for paratransit. We hit 36,000.2. That's pretty good. That's a lot of rides.
Do you have any data on rides per hour?
I can get that for you.
Would you? Okay.
Absolutely. I'll get it to Christine, and she'll get it to you. No problem.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you,
Great.
Board.
Thank you so much.
Have a good afternoon.
Well, here we go.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. My name is Eva Williams, and I'm here to present to you the proposed budget for FY27. As you may recall, in June of this year, I came and presented our preliminary budget to you all and requested feedback. I'm happy to say that not much has changed since that time, and I will go over the notable changes, though, that we have made with the budget. Okay. So today we'll walk briefly through, again, the notable changes, our revenue overview, operating budget, capital projects with the exception of TexRail, and then talk about next steps. So some of the notable adjustments that we've made since the last time we've been together are particularly in the sales tax area. We increased it by $3 million just based on reviewing our sales tax receipts over the past year. So from last year's adopted budget in FY26, we increased it about 9%, and which took the budget up about $13 million, which is in line with the city of Fort Worth because we've been reviewing, their budget process as well. Secondly, we looked at our grant revenue. We went back and combed through our upcoming projects, looked at the grant receipts, and we ended up reducing this of almost $400,000 just to get in line with where we believe we will fall at the end of the next fiscal year. And then finally, one of the larger changes that we made are in regard to the TRE capital budget. In partnership with the Trinity Metro staff, the DART staff, as well as the TRE staff, we went back and looked at the current projects that are going on with TRE as well as the upcoming projects. And we decided, in order to make sure that we're maintaining the state of good repair for our vehicles, which, as we know, are 26, 27, almost years old, we need to invest the $3.3 million there. Now, I will say we are looking at upcoming grant opportunities that can help offset some of these costs, but we had to increase the budget in order for us to be able to perform the services needed in order to maintain that state. So just looking at the summary of revenues and expenditures, some of our largest contributors, as you'll see, are sales tax and then our operating grants in which we get our revenue in, and that takes us to about $204.9 million. And then if looking at our expenditure summary, some of our largest contributors there are personnel and then our purchase transportation, which is inclusive of our rail contract, micro, and para. That leaves us overall with about $400,000. Now, we do realize that is a very small margin, and we're doing what we can to make sure that we do not go over budget this year. Moving on to the revenue, again, we have our sales tax, operating grants, and then our other revenue comes in from our contributing partners like North Richland Hills, Grapevine, the Fort Worth Bike Program, advertising and rental income, which is approximately $7 million, followed by our Farebox and our Easy Ride Corporate Partnership Program. As you can see, our team is doing a lot with a very little. So we appreciate that, and for them for working with us to make sure that we keep a pretty balanced budget this year. Next slide, please. Again, our largest categories here, personnel as well, and then purchase transportation, we kept it pretty much in line. But as you all know, we've seen some increases in ridership, specifically in the paratransit area and micro. And so we are monitoring that very closely because, again, very small margin for error this year when it comes to our budget. Can you go back one? Oh. I do want to say that for our expenditures as well, for our capital operating budget, we have about $23 million that we're going to account for our ongoing capital maintenance programs. Again, like bus purchases, fencing updates, that includes the TRE portion, bus stop improvements. So those are the ongoing capital projects, again, not inclusive of the large projects that we are kicking off or just recently kicked off, which includes Double Track and the extension project. Next slide, please. So I hope that we can return next month and take this budget for full adoption. We have a really good outlook. Again, our team has laced up their sneakers and drank a lot of water to make sure we're prepared for next year, because we will have to do a lot of work to make sure that we are not going over budget. But with that, that's the proposed budget update that I have for you, and I'm opening the floor to any feedback that you may have.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
This is like just for my own edification, but can we see a breakdown of cost per ride based off of these different ride forms?
Sure.
And then I don't know if we could track, like, as we're increasing ridership, if that's increasing costs, and if we can add that to our calculus. So.
For sure, we'll get that
Just-
to you. I'll get it to
yeah.
Christine. Other questions? Thank you all.
Thank you, I appreciate it. We have an action item. Ted, would you present this to us?
Certainly. Good afternoon, Board. I'm Ted Zimmerman, Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Trinity Metro. So the item before you today is a request to approve a 6-month extension in our existing marketing service agreement with Pulsar Advertising, which will expire as of October 1st. The agreement, just some background, the agreement provides professional marketing and advertising services. It includes brand strategy, market research, campaign development, production, also our media planning and placement. And so as we started to approach the end of the contract, staff resources within marketing communications, as well as in other portions of the organization, were heavily focused on planning and executing all of our activities surrounding FIFA World Cup. And so given those demands, we deferred launching the procurement for the next marketing service contract until the fall, where we could really dedicate appropriate resources to a thorough and competitive process. We've already developed the RFP and anticipate initiating that procurement in the next month or so. The 6-month expansion allows us just continuity of services while we're completing the solicitation, the evaluation, and also the negotiation process. And then what we're doing is bringing that next contract back to the board for ratification and approval. So we don't have any performance issues with Pulsar that would warrant us ending the agreement before it expires. Again, the extension really provides time needed to be able to do the solicitation for the RFP process. So the requested modification is for an additional not to exceed $600,000, which the professional marketing services as well as advertising, media, and placement during the extension period. And then that funding will actually be appropriate under the proposed FY27 operating budget. So the approval would increase the total contract authority from $5,724,444.18 to a not to exceed amount of $6,324,444.18. So the recommendation before you is that the Board of Directors would authorize the President and Chief Executive Officer to execute contract modification number 3 for the contract number 21-037 with Pulsar Advertising, extending the current agreement for the total of an additional 6 months in the amount of the not to exceed $600,000, increasing the total contract authority to $6,324,444.18 to provide the continuity of services that we need in order we find the next contractor. Questions?
I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. A motion and a second to approve BA 2026-44. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ted.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair and members of the board. This is it's been a couple of months since we've been together. We don't have a meeting in July. And during this summer, this is what we did this summer. You all know we've been very busy with World Cup. Well, I'm happy to say that we have successfully completed our World Cup service. And I really, it's time to just take a moment to reflect on all that was accomplished. First of all, World Cup was 9 games coming into our market, world travelers, folks from all around the world. We didn't know what to expect, so we had a belt and suspenders approach to everything. We did operational testing. The organization came together to plan not only for great rail service out to Centerport with the connecting service provided by COG, but to provide other services to support the existing transit network. And what we wanted to do was to make sure that our everyday riders were not disaccommodated, if that's a word.
Yep, sure.
Okay. And yeah, it is now. And so we had, after about 18 months or more of planning and collaboration on this, I'm really happy to say that we moved tens of thousands of people, as you saw in the ridership numbers. But it wasn't just the ridership numbers that told the story. What we saw was a coming together of this agency in a way that we've never had before. So the team, every one of us, both in this room, over at HRP, every single team member at Trinity Metro played a role during those 4 weeks of World Cup. And it was not hard to miss us. We were in the colorful jerseys. We were out in the field, across the city, along the rail lines, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. We had folks come up to us in the field to express and stop us, and you don't see this very often, but when people grab your arm and they want to share a story. But the story was not just a great hospitality, but it was the story internally of all of us working together to accomplish something bigger than ourselves. And I think it unified us in a way that I haven't seen before. It is interesting. I'll give you a couple of examples. So it was a very warm period, those 4 weeks, not quite as warm as it is today. But the first game, we realized, wow, this is going to be a rather intense assignment for the team. And our facilities team sprung into action, bought coolers and chillers, took existing refrigerators out of the shop and moved them into the field. We had frozen ice pops and ice cold Gatorade. And I got to tell you, those little things mattered. In a hot day, standing in the sun. Matter of fact, we were a popular spot for all of our partners to come over and say hello because we had the ice pops in the fridge. It really provided a touch of celebration, right? Where it wasn't just a job, we were all out there enjoying ourselves. I'll tell you another example. We had Annette Lenderos and team got the Hollywood sign. We call it the Hollywood sign. It's the Fort Worth sign. Mm-hmm. And we ran into some wiring issues we had to correct, and the facilities team sprung into action to figure that out. Our electricians got on the job to fix that. We had a track fire one night out on, and you all probably didn't even know about this. We had a small track fire out in the Centerport area, and the entire team working within minutes had buses mobilized, and we had the crowds flowing without interruption. Now, if not casting any shade on others, but we were prepared in ways that allowed us to flex when we needed to flex. And some of the lessons learned from this, aside from the teamwork and the internal collaboration, we saw great success with our TRE Link service into the airport. That was a high-performing service where we saw folks coming in from the same-day travelers that would come in for the game. They'd fly in, take TRE Link, and then fly out after the game. Again, because we had redundancy and flexibility in the operation, we were able to pivot on the fly. In addition to the game day service, we offered, I think you all know this, we've talked about it, non-game day transportation to Buc-ee's, to Arlington, and I can't tell you what a success story that was in so many ways. So it raised our profile in a way that we probably didn't expect. I don't think any of us expected it. I remember hearing about the Buc-ee's idea. I'm like, well, maybe. It turned out that we generated over $13 million in, right, Ted? $13 million in earned media from that service. We were featured in live broadcasts around the country. This was not just a local phenomenon. People were talking about us in all parts of the media markets around the country. And just a few days ago, the governor himself, Governor Abbott, actually was talking of opening a Buc-ee's in San Marcos and featured and talked about our Buc-ee's bus service, which is kind of interesting and unexpected. So I think what sort of is memorable about World Cup to me personally is that the mission was to provide great service, but to also not be the story. Let the story be about the World Cup. And I have to tell you, we've exceeded expectations because the story was about World Cup, but the stories that came out about Trinity Metro were all positive stories. And I want to thank every single, I would love to start singling individuals out, but if I did that, I'd be remiss. I would miss somebody. I know everyone in this room and others not here today contributed in such a significant way to our success. And if you would join me in just giving them a round of applause. Now, our team, I have one other really important message to share, and that is our team is full of hidden talent. And so I'm going to pivot from World Cup to an individual in our team, Lenora Kimbrough. I don't know if you know Lenora. Lenora and I got to know each other 4 years ago. Lenora, wave. When I joined Trinity Metro, I spent lots of time in the field sitting and learning and listening. And Lenora and I spent a couple of hours over at the dispatch office at the time. Lenora was over there. And if you get to know Lenora, you know she is an extraordinary person. High caliber, great integrity, highly motivated. Well, it turns out she told not a soul, but Lenora has written a book, and she's been published. So, hidden talent. So I'm going to, Lenora, thank you for allowing me to do this. Because Lenora does not seek the spotlight, and this is a fantastic example of Lenora. So her new book is called C, which is Seek Excellence Every Day, a guide to professionalism and workplace excellence. So I'm just going to read a quick blurb from the back of her book. Through real-world insights, thought-provoking reflections, and actionable strategies, you will learn how to build a strong foundation of professionalism and integrity, communicate with confidence, clarity, and respect, strengthen teamwork and workplace relationships, develop a professional presence that inspires trust, lead with empathy, accountability, and excellence, and create a lasting impact through daily habits and intentional growth. Lenora, we are so enormously proud of you, like just really amazing. Somehow you pulled this off in spite of all of the other things that are on your plate. So I think we could all learn a lesson or two from you. Let's give Lenora a round of applause. Yeah, just incredible. So, Mr. Chair, I think that's a great way to end my remarks.
Y'all didn't read my book? I don't have a book. Think about it. In terms of the board members' report, this is open mic. Does anybody have anything they'd like to chat about?
I actually do have a couple things. Thank you. Am I recognized?
Yes, you're
Okay,
recognized.
thank you.
Isaac.
Thanks for asking.
I know we're trying to be more official. So I had a couple bus adventures since we've been back last. I was able to go out the afternoon that the Sweden-Japan game was going on and view our trains. And we had 2 Amtraks coming in, Texrail, TRE coming in, all of our buses at the station at one time. And everyone kind of gets off on their own little wherever they're going next, and then they all leave at the same time. That's really powerful. I think we need to capture that. But just seeing the preparation that went into this over 2 years plus, and then seeing the team on the ground was so inspiring. Rich is right. Like, every single person in this room was basically out there on the platform helping people. I saw fans who barely spoke English were easily able to get onto the trains, and if someone missed a train, they were able to hop on a bus 2 minutes later, get to Centerport. The whole thing was really impressive. But then kind of the biggest thing I want to talk about is I was getting my tires changed on Camp Bowie, and I'm like, okay, there's the 2. So I had an hour to kill, so I hopped on the 2, and Cammie was driving. She was great. Got all the way downtown in like 15 minutes, was able to talk to a bunch of British soccer fans at the ITC, and then hopped on Blue Line with Kristen. That was a great ride, going around talking about all that stuff, and then was able to hop back on the 2 with Ira and get back. Just the ease of being able to hop on that bus, get downtown, kind of opened my eyes of how well our buses operate, and I wish that that story was out there more, because it really is a great service. And I know I'm guilty of not always using that as my first choice of transportation, but it really is a great service. So I'm really proud of our bus service. And then just crazy idea for Blue Line. What if we had double-decker buses? I've already called a couple consultants, and they're about half the price of our normal buses, so it might be something to think about. That's all I got.
You're closer to the sun that way.
Yeah. These days.
Thank you, Isaac. Open mic. Any other comments? Yeah, I think we're all proud of the job that everyone did during FIFA. It was remarkable. It was noticeable. And it's that trust I mentioned before that we've created and we continue to exhibit even in our regular service. I think everybody knows it, and that's why our ridership continues to improve. We still have work to do, but it's very noticeable, and I think everybody in the community knows it. So thank you all. It's been a remarkable experience, and I'm glad it's over. Other business. Read in with us. We have a COTS, FRA report.
Brad's going
Double duty.
Brad's going to walk us through it, but I want to say a word on behalf of Reed. Reed is plugged into the National Association and is a national leader. This COT&S program, which you're going to hear about, is an example of Trinity Metro taking a lead in an industry where there was a notable gap in the regulation. Regulation has been overburdensome. The railroad industry is one of the most highly regulated industries in this country in terms of equipment performance, safety, and some of the regulations that apply to this update today date back decades, if not a century. And so what Reed has done for us in his leadership role is spur a national conversation about a new regulatory approach, which is not only helpful to how we do business, but there's a bottom line benefit to doing this. Not easy. You all know that whenever you try to change a regulation in DC, it is enormously cumbersome and a long process. But what Reed and Brad now are going to lay out for you is a really smart approach to gaining buy-in, bringing partners along. And so Trinity Metro is leading with other railroads, and the first meeting took place here in this room. How long ago, Brad?
Just maybe about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
The 28th through the 30th of July, they were here.
So over to you.
All righty. The COTS program is Clean Oil Test and Stencil. When when Texrail bought their first 8 trains, part of the system was Stadler uses Knorr braking systems. They are a European manufacturer. The FRA, not knowing how these braking systems are going to work, even though they clearly state that they are good for up to 8 years, if not longer, they put a federal regulation in there that said all trains had to be tested every 2 years. However, we got lucky and we got every 3 years. So we only had to do every 1,095 days. However, in that system, each overhaul cost approximately $300,000. It is about a 3-week process for our operations team to pull that train in, that it has to be down for 3 weeks at a time, to pull that train in, pull everything off, put the new system back on, and make sure everything is calibrated before it goes back out. It has to go through a lot of tests and stuff before it goes back out for service. So every year, the way that we have it broke down, it was going to cost us, and this kind of goes into our new trains that we're going to be receiving next year, it was going to cost us somewhere between $600,000 and $900,000 a year that we don't feel is needed. So, and then with Knorr not being able to meet the schedule, it really kind of puts delays and it causes operational delays for us. Next slide. So Texrail has worked on trying to get extensions past this 3 years because of the Knorr delay, with no avail to the FRA. They're like, no, you're not doing this. So it just causes us, kind of puts us in a bind. However, so Reed had started working with APTA, and APTA was able to bring in 4 other railroads. So we have Cap Metro, DCTA, DART, Metrolink, and us. So there's 5 of us in here. DCTA and Cap Metro operate a flirt. MetroLink, DART, and TexRail operate the flirt. The GTW was the other 2, excuse me. So in getting in touch with the FRA, which they're a little antsy about this because they don't know that much about this brake system. It's not the traditional braking system that they're used to. So they're still learning the process of it also. But in getting them on the phone and getting them in discussions, they have opted to put us in what is called an AJEX program. The AJEX program is potentially could take up to 10 years before we get it. However, they're thinking that if we go through this process very quickly, it could only be 4 years before they're able to give us an extension. They are very well on board with this. They had a lot of positive feedback. Each agency brought in a representative. We all kind of got in the room here and started talking about, you really don't need this. And they're like, oh, you got to test this. And we're like, we don't even use that. So there was a lot of information that they didn't know that they know now. So they were very on board with getting us the information we need. So we did a dry run test for 2 days at the MMF. What we did is we went through and we tested. We came up with a list of items that we're going to test. Those items, we decided to, now there's multiple of those items on each train, but they chose, we're going to test one of each just to go through the process. Once we go through a GTW at the end of the year, then they will give us a date of when we're going to do the first one. We only have to do 1 unit, which we already have our kit ready to go. We have to do 1 unit, and then we will not have to change another cot until year 5. Because everybody else around the nation that is in this program will be doing one also. So we're all sharing that information to get to the final state. Next one. This is our class. There was about 20 of us in here. Next slide. So what we petition is the alternative standard, which specifies the railroad utilizing other newer braking systems to perform COTS every 2 years. TexRail, MetroLink, DART, DCTA, and Capital Metro have petitioned to extend multiple unit train sets to 5 years with consideration to potentially explore up to 10 years. Next slide. Over the next 4 to 9 years, participating agencies will perform various brake system overhauls as part of the study. The program will track testing results and failure rates across all 5 agencies. Program data will be submitted to the FRA for final inspection and consideration of an extension to the overhaul process. This study has the potential to save TexRail approximately $3.5 to $4.8 million while the program is in place. And I will take any questions.
That's great. Any comments? Good idea. So it's all Reed's idea?
Yeah, Reed, Reed, he is quick to give credit and take none. But it's Reed and his team that have been thinking about, and this, you're going to see this presentation. Next month, we're going to have another presentation on the bus side. Creative leadership, experimentation with different ways of doing business that have not just a cost savings benefit, but this is a safety benefit.
Yes.
I just want to underscore that, right, Brad? Like tearing down a brake system that is perfectly adequate introduces risk into the operation. Anytime you're tearing down a component on a vehicle, the reinstallation process can lead to error, right? So you really only want to be tearing down equipment or replacing components when they need to be replaced. So this is both a bottom line benefit and ultimately a safety benefit for us.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ancillary items that show in their test procedures that the FRA said, you don't got to test that. It has nothing to do with brake systems. So we get to pull all that stuff out. And one last thing, John, I got your answer. June was not a record month. It ranked 201st over TRE. The number one over time was 289,000 riders, and that was during State Fair. I ran upstairs and got some information. I don't want to leave without giving you the information. There's a lot of work. But they did say that is the highest number post-COVID. So since COVID, that is the highest number post-COVID.
Cool.
So moving in the right direction.
Pass along to Reed our thanks for all his work on this COTS program. It sounds terrific.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you can save $3 to $4 million, that's a number.
Yes, sir.
It's really a big deal, and if you can imagine having to go to the FRA and get them to change some of their rules, you just got to keep after it.
It's very hard, but they're well on board with making this change.
Good. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got some news. I think it's good news for the group. The executive session listed on your agenda is being delayed, so we will not have an executive session today. If there's no other business to come before the board.
I want to be sure, I might have glossed over that, but I want to recognize Brad for his contributions. Brad, where are you? Yeah, thank you for taking the lead on that COTS program. I really appreciate you. I was mentioning Reed's name quite a bit, but you've had an instrumental role in that, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we'll be anxiously awaiting what's going to happen with buses next month, too. That'll be interesting. If there's no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned.
Huzzah.